Hello, welcome. I'm Sandhya. Today, in this video, we will be looking at a few executions. We will try to implement a few control structures so that we'll have an understanding of what does everything mean. So here we go. This is a simple code where I'm trying to use break, continue, go to, exit, and return in this part of the code. Okay, so let me just save it by just writing some example. Example.c. Okay. ee.c. Okay. Yes. So this is a program where I have 1 to 5. It just prints 1 to 5. Just check out. There's nothing here. So save the code, compile the program, and run the program to see what does it print. Yes, the program runs and produces 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because there's nothing. So let me just modify the code and let us see how does it do, if there is a break here. What's the job of break? The job of break is to, get the control out of the loop. It is used inside a for loop. So this is also an example of writing a program. The first one is an example of for loop. Alt R run. Yes, Fn Alt F5. There's no clear screen used, so therefore we just found 1 to an end. 1 to an end. Okay, so let's just take it and just change this break to continue. Okay, instead of break, I used continue. Let's save the code because the program is modified. Let's save, compile, and try to run to check what's happening. Yes, Fn Alt F5. When I used break, the answer was 1, 2, and end. When I used continue, it only skipped for I equal to 3, and the answer is 1, 2, 4, 5, end. Okay. Instead of all this, let's put again, instead of continue, let's just put the statement called as return. What does return do? What's the job of return? Return basically plays the same role. It gets the control back to the calling function. So, okay, both return and return with value. Int main should return something, so therefore it should be return 0 kind of thing. Okay, save. Yes, compile, run. When you run the program again, what do you think is the output? It is 1 and 2, but not end. End will not come because the program, that's what is return about. Return just takes the control back to, the function that it called. So therefore it just moves away. Return might not make a large difference when we are using inside main program, but when we use a subprogram, there's a lot of difference between what does return do and what does exit do. So what's the job of exit? Exit gets the control out of program, whereas return just transfers the control back to the calling function. So there is a difference when we use them, within this one. So exit is present in stdlib.h as we all know. So it's time to save. Compile and try to run the code. When you run, yes, it produces Fn Alt F5. It produces 1, 2 again because it just produces 1, 2 because it doesn't go to this part called end. Exit gets the control out of the program. This is about, how do we work with break, return, and exit. Let me just modify the code. And now let's take up how do we do it for an array. Imagine, or let us do nested loops, ing. Okay, so for I equal to 5, I less than or equal to 5, nested loop is a concept of having one loop inside another. So therefore, if outer loop is I, then let me put inner loop for j equal to 1, j less than or equal to 5, j plus plus. I'm printing the value of, okay, j plus plus. I'm printing the value of I or j or whatever it is. Okay, let me print I and check what is this doing. Let us print I and check what is this doing. For every row, I ensure that there is something called a new line. So therefore save. This is an example of nested loops. That critical data structures which we were not talking about implementing. So yes, Fn Alt F5. Okay. What is this? 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Okay. Okay. You just put your number and a space and then print I. I'm printing I. I value is 1 in row 1, 2 in row 2, 3 in row T. Let's save the code. compile it and run it. Yes, F and Alt F5. Check out the answer 1 1 1 1 2 2 2 2 3 3 3 3 4 4 5 5. Yes. If I want to print the multiplication table, if I want to print the multiplication table, then I wanted here to print something called I into J. So to ensure that, let's include clear screen. So what's the job of clear screen? The job of clear screen is to ensure that the output is cleared and is presented on a fresh screen for every new iteration. So therefore, this is what I have. Alt F save, Alt C compile, and Alt R run. Yes, 1 1 1 1 2 3 4 5. So hope you're able to make it. I'm doing it for this table. Yes. Now let us also understand the small concept. I want to make it till 10 into 10, a 10 by 10 multiplication kind of table. We used to have this, right? We used to do this for our tables, but 10 by 10. So I am printing I into J, but the only thing, because the numbers can be 3D, so let us make this 4D. That's it. Alt F save. Alt F. What did 4D do? 4D is a concept of having width. We have studied about that already in Unit 1. Width ensures that the data is presented in a fixed pattern. So that's why you got a shape pretty clearly. So whenever we are working with patterns, it's important that we concentrate on spaces, extra spaces, and the minimum spaces that we afford. And percentile WD comes into very, very handy, especially in these cases when we are trying to do work with patterns. So this is one such an example of nested loops, and also an example of pattern where we are trying to print that multiplication table kind of thing. Okay, so this is about nested loops. Nested loops, you can also have while, break. Okay, so now whenever you use a break inside a nested loop, it gets the control out of the current loop. So that is also there. So this is about nested loops: break, continue, return, exit. Okay. Okay, let's take a minute's time and just go ahead and just see a program on GoTo. So yes, what does GoTo do? Okay, what's the job of GoTo? The job of GoTo is to take the control from any part of the program to anywhere in the program. So this is my program. Yeah, to, one, and end. Hello, this is an example GoTo program. It prints to, one, and end. So what's the job of end? If no end is there, then this program ends up in infinite loops. So that's why GoTo needs to be carefully programmed. And this is a pretty simple example which prints, forward GoTo and backward GoTo. Both exist in this example. This is an example for GoTo. So in this concept, totally, we have seen, how do we use how do we use nested loops? How do we use, what's the use of nested loops? What's the use of break, continue, GoTo, return, and exit? And also we have seen how to print patterns. So with this, I give you an assignment. I want all of you to go ahead and try to print various patterns on your own, exploring the percentile WD concept and the nested loops concept. Good day.